close, keep it confused.
Yes.
There you go, something like that. So I tried to make it so you weren't leaning into them. Yeah, they're kind of not gonna do that too much, a little bit. Okay, so anyway, I think we're gonna start off, with basically, you guys are gonna have 3 minutes to tell us about yourself and why you're running and why we should vote for you. So without further ado, we're gonna start off with J.R. Keplinger. You're gonna have 3 minutes. I'll let you know when your time's up.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all for holding this Meet the Candidate night as well. William J.R. Keplinger, I'm from Hardy County. I was born in a small hospital close to here, Petersburg, 1969. I'm 53 years old. Just so happens I was born up here in Petersburg. But anyway, graduated Moorfield High School and went to WVU. Graduated with a resource management economics degree in 1991. Started a business for bedding for poultry animals, actually is what it ended up being, but all farm animals. Still operating that business currently today. 2001, got elected as a county commissioner for Hardy County. Well, 1 year later, I got married to my lovely wife, Stacy. Been married for approximately 20 years now. This fall will be 20 years. Have 2 children. One's going to graduate this fall, go to WVU. Very proud of her. Got a son that just joined the Civil Air Patrol. He is 15 years old. Those are 2 of my pride and joys in life. Fortunate enough, my parents are still alive. Bill and Rosemary, they live on South Fork on our family farm. We operate a farm, 700,000 broilers, produced in a year, 65 head of brood cows. With the business, the farm, and now running for state senate. So I appreciate your support May 10th. And please come to the polls and vote often. Thank you.
That was under 3 minutes, we like that. Next will be Jim Lowe. Did I pronounce your name right, Jim?
Yes, my accountant said I'm no longer James Lowe, I'm Jimbo Lowe, so people know how to pronounce my last name. Actually, my dad's from Franklin, and my mom's from Kaiser. So my dad passed away at 90, my mom's 93 and still living. I will be 70 in July. As a retiree, I want to do something for our nation again because I see a need. I'm a populist, and I don't like sometimes what either party is doing. But certainly the future as is conservatism. I am an unabashed, proud capitalist. I have 2 children. My daughter lives in Hedgesville, and she's a biolab technician in the hospital in Martinsburg. My son lives locally in the Kaiser area across the river. He's a supervisor for 440 apartments. He's a handyman. My dad had those skills. I did not. So it passed through me to my son. Now, my past, I spent 13 years in commercial private enterprise. And then I spent another 20 having secret clearance. My education is a Bachelor of Science degree in political science, public administration, minor in music in Frostburg. I worked towards my master's, and I finished it at Frostburg, also Maryland, and also North Central University in Arizona. Arizona and West Virginia has a lot in common. My younger brother had secret clearance was strategic in the Air Force. So when we go down to the Flex Home office in Arizona, we can talk about things we can't talk about elsewhere. Enough about me personally. I stand for God, guns, and country. We need the infrastructure so we can move the goods that capitalism needs for the profit. Because without profit, you'll pay taxes, there's no government bureaucracy. My priority first is to take care of our youth. Give them a future, give them a chance. Then take care of our seniors. After you do that, then you become political. I want to give a great, well, how can I say it? Kudos to this county, in Mineral County. We have a $45,000 bill every month in Mineral County for our jails in Augusta. Transferring our prisoners, sitting there before they even go to court, and putting money in community corrections. The two counties of Mineral and Grant County are so successful. Other counties are watching what we have done.
All right, Jim, that'll be time.
Thank you.
You can finish your thought.
Oh, my thought is, I mean, that's basically it. I would want to give one more tag, it's might be redundant, Commissioner of States. And with that, thank you for the executive committee, thank you.
All right, next up will be Steve Smith. And I'm gonna watch his time careful, because I know he can go on and on.
Well, it's good to see everyone here this evening, and I'm very happy to be here with my wife Elizabeth, and our daughter Taylor, our boyfriend Ryan, and our brother in Christ, Zane. And it's very good to see you too. And I'm not going to go a lot just into my background. I'm going to just talk about some things in general. I've got a quote here that I recently saw. It's from Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. And he says, "We have come to this hallowed spot to remind America of the fierce urgency of now," is what it says. Now. Tell you what, we have a fiercely urgent time that we are living in at this point. And I don't think there's anyone here that we have to explain that to. I don't think you wouldn't be here if you needed a lot of that. But our country right now is being run by a group of people that have no idea what they're doing. And the sad part is that we would love to say that it was all on the Democrat side, but sometimes I think there's a uniparty that's running us. And I think that sometimes that even applies in Charleston, is the same thing. So I guess what we need to do as people, because it's ultimately to us, it's we the people, the last time I looked at the Constitution, is what it says there. We need to take our country back. Because if we don't, there won't be anything left to pass on to anyone's children. We'd like to talk about education, but we talk about things like CRT, critical race theory, and the idea, all that critical theory, I think we all know, comes from Marx's theory, is where it comes from. And the idea is to tear something down so you can build something else on top of it. That's what critical theory does. And it can either be in business, or it can be in racial matters, or whatever it is that you decide that you want to take down. But we, as the people, are the ones. And I would truly appreciate you all supporting me in this, because I would love to go to Charleston and get a hold of them, is what I would like to do. That's the truth of the matter. If I go down there, I'm not going to be a yes man to anyone. I'd like to go down and stir them up. That's what they need. They need a stick put in the middle of them and done like this. And I think you all probably believe that too. I think that's the case. But let's be for America. Let's be for West Virginia. Let's realize that with the way the situation is, we've got to stand and do what we can do. And thank you all. Thank you so much.
First time I've known Steve not to use up all his time.
I knew you would yell at me.
All right. Next up, we have Angela Hyman.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for putting this on tonight. Of course, my name is Angela Hyman, for those that don't know me. I grew up in Mineral County, and I moved to Grant County in 2001. My husband and I have been married for 26 years and have 2 grown children. I decided to run for office because I'm sick of the wokeness, I'm sick of the special interests, and I'm sick of our Christian values being attacked. If elected, I would support voter integrity legislation, push for harsher punishments for drug dealers and traffickers, and I feel we need to protect the innocence of our children and ban CRT and transgender studies in public schools. I will also defend and support our First and Second Amendments. We need to get back to energy independence as well. We have all the resources we need in this state, but we're not allowed to use them. We produce and burn fossil fuels cleaner than any other country on this planet. What you see is what you get with me. I am your average person who has had enough and would like to encourage anybody that has the time and energy to get out and get involved locally, state, federally, any place you think you can do something, do it. I'm doing it and I am nobody special. So I'm encouraging other people just to get out. And I'm your common sense candidate who will send a message that the 14th district will not cater to special interests and that Christians are not second-class citizens. Thank you for your time.
Next up, we have someone that wasn't on my list. I'm glad he showed up, Jay Taylor.
Well, I sent him my RSVP. Yeah, okay. Well, thank you. This is a great event, and going last, what an advantage, because I just get to say dittos to everything that was already said. So, yeah, I mean, we're all conservative Republicans here, and whichever one of us wins this, we're going to work together here in the fall, and I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, my name's Jay Taylor, running here for the 14th District. I guess you could describe me as a political activist. I've been doing things in politics for probably 30 years now. I've been chairman of the executive committee. I've been your representative in the 14th District on the state executive committee, worked on the party platform and go to all the state party meetings and whatnot. I've been the Convention of States legislative liaison for the past number of years. We finally got that passed this year. That's to help rein in the federal government. If you guys haven't heard about that, go out and check it out. We're really making progress, with 18 states passing it, and that was such a proud moment getting there. But working that really got me on the inside down there, got me to know all the legislators, and it's been great. Like when we had Rick Santorum down there this year, everybody's coming up to me and we were introducing them, and I already knew all the senators, so that's really helped get me the experience that I think will really help us get the attention that the 14th District needs. Definitely, I almost don't like to belittle it, but I'm a check-the-box conservative. I've got I'm pro-life. I got the endorsement from West Virginians for Life. Definitely Second Amendment. I've got the endorsement from the West Virginia CDL, A rating from the NRA, and I've been endorsed for Americans for Prosperity. I've been endorsed by the Senate caucus here in West Virginia, so I've been getting some good endorsements, and it's just because of the time I put in helping to get legislation passed. Not only with the Convention of States, but other bills that I've helped along the way. There's always a Second Amendment. There's always a pro-life bill. There's other resolutions that are going on and working their way through. Definitely, we've seen and got to do some stuff with our education, our infrastructure, the drug crisis. Oh my gosh, we really need to grab that one and get involved there and make sure that all hands on deck approach. Get these dang drug dealers or some of our kids, put them away. I don't care how long you get a sentence in there, whatever we can get. The biggest thing I can tell you that I'll be able to do for you is, since I've been down there, I'm not going to be able to go down there and be, the Senate, we're not dictators down there. It's a team, politics is a team sport. So I'm going to need to, have, the consensus of other senators. And I've already built those relationships, those connections, and those friendships. So, Jay Taylor for Senate, that's jforwv.com. Thank you.
Good deal. Okay, so that'll be our state senators who are running for the Republican primary this year, which should be April 27th, I believe, is when the primary election is.
Early voting starts.
Early voting starts on the 24th?
27th.
27th?
And then the election's May 10th.
May 10th.
Yeah.
Election May 10th.
I'm glad somebody can correct me. Good deal. Okay, so at this time, we'll have these gentlemen and lady go ahead and stand up and exit the stage.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I wanted to announce to everybody also, we have a... Well, good, at least they don't have to call you backup.
That's true.
You know, they roped me into this last minute, so you have to, you know, give me some excuse. So we're gonna ask the same two questions to everybody. I'm gonna ask the first question, and I'll just have you answer it down the line. You don't need to elaborate too much, but as much as you want. So the first question I'm going to ask is, what is your position on the critical race theory bills that have been introduced to date?
I'd like to have an answer for that, but I'm going to allow the second candidate to go ahead and answer that question, because I really don't have the proper information on that to actually give an opinion.
Okay. Jim, you want to answer that same question?
Well, that would default to me because it's a red herring. Critical race theory is not being taught, but I support Angela Iman's position. Social issues should not be resolved with our teachers and our children. Certainly, what happened in Florida in K through 3, I applaud. It's not that critical race theory is a bad item. It belongs as an elective course at West Point in the Army. How we treat other people. It belongs as a graduate course working your master's degree. We don't want it in our high schools. Quite frankly, the theory is not only is our country racist, it's institutionally racist. We know some of our churches use the Old Testament to justify slavery. That's history. That is institutional. But that's not a hate that we have right now in our hearts. So that does not belong in our high schools at all. Some of the bills were overdone. I don't think they passed at all. The theory was right, and critical race theory should be taught, but not in our public high schools.
Thank you, Jim. Steve, you need me to read the question?
From what time?
Okay. What is your position on the critical race theory bills that have been introduced?
But Jim, I think this is a place where we'll diverge. It should not be taught even at West Point. And I know we can't control West Point because that's not the office that we have. And the way that it's actually taught is that you won't find, like in a textbook, it won't say, hey, this is critical race theory. You know, it won't be like that. They won't be saying this class is critical race theory. What they'll be doing is they'll be etching it in things like social studies and other courses, and also even in, as they found in Florida, math. That's why they rejected 44 of their math books, is because they had things of that nature and also other things. So yes, critical race theory is real. It's kind of like the devil. If the devil can convince you he's not real, he's got you. You know, that's basically what this is too. So in my opinion, and if I get down there, anything we can do to stop that type of thing, because the way that they do it is they try to teach certain people that, hey, you are discriminated against, and therefore you deserve. You other people, like all you people here, you were discriminating. You didn't even know it, you know. So because it is a system that Jim was saying is baked in the cake, is the way that they would say it. So it's something that is there, and we don't even know we're racist. So all of us here, we need to be taught we're racist. And once we're racist, maybe we can cure everything. To me, that's just a bunch of garbage. You just teach things like history the way history is. I've taught history for I don't know how many years. I have the PhD in history. And what you do is you just teach history. You don't try to indoctrinate. And that's what critical race theory does. Thank you.
Thank you. Angela, same question. Do you need it ready again?
No, it's okay. We missed that vote in the Senate this year by 10 seconds. To me, it's designed to be, it's just designed to divide, is what it is. It's not bringing anybody together, it's designed to divide us. And I believe that is exactly the purpose of it, and I don't know how we missed that, but it should have been done this year. It should have passed the House, and I believe it did pass the House, but the Senate missed it by 10 seconds. And if I was there, I'd have tried everything I could have to get that vote through. Thank you.
Jay, same question to Jay Taylor.
Yeah, and that was such a shame that bill didn't get passed there, just by a few seconds. Matter of fact, just that last line that Craig Blair needed to say with, clerk, please communicate the actions from the Senate to the House. That line, because they had already closed the machine and everything, so, and I did like how they had this bill set up this session, because, it was the, just with the discrimination bill, because that way, you're not spelling out exactly critical race theory, because they're just gonna come back and call it, have another thing, call it something else, and, like you're saying with all these math books down in Florida. So it's really good how they do that. Same thing when we, tried to ban Common Core and so the liberals are always just gonna switch the verb, switch what the words they're using, the buzzwords. So it's definitely, we gotta make things real generic so that, I think Godwin has, I can't believe we have to write something up saying, hey, don't discriminate. It's crazy that we have to do that, but it's something we're gonna have to get done. I've been actually pushing a little bit, trying to see if we can get this in a special session, so that, get it done now. And it shouldn't be that big of an issue. Why it was such an issue is because the Democrats love to filibuster things down there, and that was the strategy that the Senate was trying. It was to get it through right at the last minute so that they didn't have all that filibustering. They missed it by 10 seconds. So, but yeah, that was what happened there, and I'm really hoping somehow, but I don't think the governor will put that on. But that'll be something we'll have to take care of next session.
Second question.
Please don't make it a hard one. On that comment, the one thing I didn't say, I didn't fully understand the whole process of what that was, but all men are created equal. And if you don't teach that to start with and don't understand your Constitution, you're really not living in the right country. So that's where I stand on that whole question. It sounds to me like it's a lot of just fluff, and all these kind of agree to it as well. So I'm glad I didn't take the wrong answer and say the wrong thing.
Good deal. Thank you, Jay. We'll get to the second question now. I'm going to make this one much harder than the last one. No, just what, if you get elected, what will you do to help make our elections more secure?
Well, actually, I think one of the best things you can do, your county clerks have ran the elections in your county. Very experienced individuals. We have county clerks in each county that handle that process. They know what needs to be done and how to handle the election polls, everything. There's little things you can change, but you got to be accountable for everything that comes in. It's in West Virginia, I don't believe we're so deceiving in what our practices are. There are other states that I feel that have done the wrong thing in the past. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know everything possible to answer the question in the right way, but I do know how to ask the question to someone who does know the answer, and that's where I'm not afraid to ask someone else. And a qualified individual in this is your Secretary of State, who handles the election process in your state, as well as the elected county clerks in each individual county. And that's where I stand.
Thank you, Jay. Jim, Lowe, same question.
My wife worked for Lower Delaware Fritz, who's clerk of Merrill County Clerk. She worked elections after the vote is counted. It's a long day, a long process. I was lucky enough to be taught by Lord Elmsworth how to work the polls. She sent me to Camp Minco, which is Mineral County, which is the first district. It's the first place that was set in Mineral County for people to vote. We were very simple. There were 4 of us that did that. And paper ballots and electronic machines. Now, security is different for both of the way of voting. First of all, before you get to vote, we demand you see ID, even a picture ID. You don't want someone coming in being someone else. We have to worry about immigrants coming in voting. They shouldn't vote. They're not qualified to vote. If we don't have safety in our voting system, our whole democracy fails. Paper ballots are actually easier to secure. Working in the secret field, I know electronically can be tapped. And we have certain rooms where we can talk things that for secure data. We have to treat our voting machines the same way. We have to put our voting machines in a secure area that cannot be hacked. So we need to step forward, train the people, follow the voting proper procedures when people come in to vote, increase the security of paper ballots, and put electronic machines in place that cannot be hacked. That will hopefully secure our right to vote, our American way, and secure one man, one vote. Thank you.
Read it one more time.
One more time for Steve. What will you do to help our elections be more secure?
This is a question that the mainstream media hadn't been hitting very much at all. If you watch just mainstream media, and even Fox itself, if you watch Fox, you haven't heard much about this question. But there's still challenges going on across the country right now to votes, to the certifications in Arizona, Georgia, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. This many years out in the presidential election, they're still actually going on. The question really is, I truly believe, like you do, that the paper ballots are the most secure, but what you see, it's amazing. There are a couple of movies that are out right now that are highly researched. Rigged is one of them, and 2,000 Mules, if you get a chance to watch it. And what's being used there is the idea that the mules are usually drug mules. But what was going on was people were being paid to carry ballots, like in these other states, where you had drop boxes. And they had one evening where they had 265 people that actually showed up at the drop box, and 1,965 votes that were there, so that were put into the drop box. That shows you what was happening in some of these states. I believe that was Georgia, where that was taking place. And you know, when you're looking at all this, and I agree with you too, about protecting the machines themselves at the voting site. I don't know if you mean like a Faraday cage or some way to actually disrupt connections to the internet. That would be one way to do it. But truthfully, you know, people who have said we need to secure the vote sometimes have gotten tarred with the idea that they don't trust their county clerks, you know. But a lot of times the county clerks would not know that it's even happening. And in fact, what they were doing apparently with the computers was they were weighting votes before they went in. So let's say that you, Jay Taylor, running, we decided that you would get, every time there's a vote cast for you, it counts as 1.3%. Every time there's a vote count for you, it's 0.7. And those were the things that they were finding within the software of the voting machines. It's a scary time. It truly is, and it's not a conspiracy theory. The question is, I had a friend that said, will you vote for me? He said, I'll vote for you, but I don't know if they'll count it. that's what he said. And sometimes we think about that. So what can we do? I think you got to get rid of the computers. And I know it makes it easier, and I think we got to get rid of mail-in voting. I think we have to go back to the way it used to be when you could apply if you were going to be out of the area, you knew you were gonna be gone, you get an absentee ballot. You can do that. And then I want to share one thing with you. My father passed away in 2019. 2020, he got a ballot to send in. If someone had decided to have been dishonest, you could have filled that ballot out and sent it in and affected the election. The question is, how many of those ballots went out like that? So this is definitely, we need to try to bring the election as close to election day as possible, and we need to do away with just mail-in votes unless it's absentee ballots. In other words, go back to the old way. I think that would work fine. Thank you.
All right, Angela Lyman, same question.
I'm just gonna kind of echo what they have. I believe we do need to ban the machines. I believe we need paper ballots. We need to ban universal mail-in voting. We're under constant cyber attack threat from Russia. You know, we're on high alert, our banks, different things. And if they can hack into our banking systems and our pipelines and shut us down, but we don't think they can hack our voting machines. So the most important thing to our democracy is our vote. It needs protected. We can do paper ballots with smaller precincts, and we can get them counted and know who won the next day. I know it didn't happen here, but things that are happening in other states are still trickling in here. And we can stop it and put a stop to it now so it doesn't happen here. Thank you.
And Jay Taylor, same question. Do you need it repeated?
No, thank you. Yeah, this is, in West Virginia, we certainly haven't had those problems those big cities have had, thank goodness. And it really goes down to a lot of thank you to Mac Warner and the job he's done as Secretary of State and will continue to do. Definitely want to work closely with him to see how much we can keep on securing it. I know in my county, how we have the, it's the electronic one that has the paper backup with it. And I'm not absolutely positive that's, every county does that, but it's got both in there, so that's really nicely secure. One thing I've done to make sure that our votes are better is last year I had my delegate in Taylor County is Delegate Amy Summers. I had her file a bill to make it so these bonds, levies, and municipal elections are on the statewide elections. Now, I know in Taylor County that we had, because they like to throw those elections just on some random Saturday, and ours in right after the 2020 election, they had it in that like February there. $70,000 for my county that was wasted for that special election, just so they could get in the low voter turnout. That's voter disenfranchisement. That's just fraudulent. I hate it. It really makes me mad. So think about that statewide, the savings that's going to be for making sure all those elections are on statewide elections. So it didn't pass in the House that last year. This year it passed in the House last year, then died in the Senate. This year it got through both, and so that'll be happening here. So I'm really proud of that we got that done. So that'll be a big savings to the state and make those bonds, levies, and these elections a lot more secure. So.
Okay, now that we have nothing further to talk about, we'll have you gentlemen and ladies go ahead and get up and exit the stage. Again, we've got J.R. Keplinger, Jim Lloyd, Steve Smith, Andrew Allen, and Jay Taylor, all running for state senate.